double check on the channel. All right, cool. We are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lucky Ocean podcast. We have Greed, and we have Cleanup. And originally, I called this K9 Alpha, but did you change it to was Web3Estate?
Yeah, it's more. That's really what the project is, the Web3Estate.
Gotcha. Well, welcome, Greed. I know you've been a part of the Cardano community forever. Do you want to give a quick introduction to who you are for maybe some people who don't know?
Sure. So I've been here on Cardano probably for about 3 years now, give or take. I guess when I first got into the ecosystem, I was pretty much got wrecked, like everybody else, invested in a bunch of things. The funny thing is that I thought that everything I was investing in was in people who had like degrees in this field and people who worked at companies with structure and resources. And then after a few months, I realized, everything I bought was going down, and I didn't understand how I couldn't distinguish the good projects from the bad projects. So that's what my goal was. I was like, all right, I got to figure this out. I got to figure out which ones are the good ones, which ones are the bad ones. And I just started diving in deeper, going through the white paper, through all the information that's in a project and their entire Discord server, their Twitter, their website, everything. And the funny thing was that only took 5-10 minutes. These projects were very thin. There wasn't that much meat on them. So that's when I started to realize that, most of them were almost all of them were bullshit, and then I started figuring out that it's just like these random kids creating, projects that are bullshit, with the gambling aspect of these cartoon pictures where everyone is, just aping in, trying to get a rare one. And there's no real substance behind the projects. So since I was experiencing some loss, and when I first got to this ecosystem, I had a lot of people help me. I joined a lot of alpha groups, and it was, a big community helping each other. It was really cool. And I learned a lot of stuff. So I wanted to give back, I wanted to, I felt like I uncovered something, I figured something out, and I wanted to share it with everybody. So I would go around, going in servers like, oh, this project's terrible, you should invest in it. And people just thought I was a jerk because I was being a jerk, but I just didn't understand how I could convey everything that I knew, verbally and tell people. So one day I told this kid, I was like, I can show you mathematically, I could show you with numbers and statistics, why this project is bad and why you shouldn't invest in it. He was like, all right, we'll do it. So I did it, and then it worked. Immediately, he was like, "Oh shit, you're right. That makes a lot of sense." And then I tested that. I would go in, I would talk about a project, I would say why it was bad, and then people would just get the fuck out of here. You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. And then I would hit them with the numbers, and then they would immediately just change their mind. They're like, "Oh shit, you're right. This makes a lot of sense." So that's when I really started pursuing my analysis. And what I created with my analysis was a 10 category system with 5 different points, 1 through 5. So it was a 50-point system. And, I purposefully made it to really dig into a project, and each one of the categories I had, I felt was very important for a project's success, and a project's success would be able to be measured by each one of these categories. So I created 5 different ways to gauge it, 1 through 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the most. And over time, I allowed, time and experience just to shape my analysis, and I would change things little by little. But I entered analyzing projects with a lot of confidence because I had already been doing it for months on my own without, creating a number system. And a lot of the statistics I had in my head, I just knew them. And there were certain formulas I created, the one that I created that this is what I used to use before I would deep dive. I would just take the amount of Twitter followers, the amount of Discord followers, and I'd add them together. And then I would divide, I'd use that number and I would divide it by 2. And then I would divide that by the number of NFTs in the collection. And then that would give me a number between 1 through 5. So So it would basically, that equation would tell me how much demand there was for the project. It would tell me how many social media members they have for each NFT that they have. So if you had a rate, so we'll create a ratio. So if you had like one person for every one NFT, that was a decent ratio where the project would usually sell out, but then it wouldn't pump too hard and it wouldn't stay above floor. And then when the ratio was much less, it would not sell out and it would crash below min price. And then when the ratio was like 1.5 or more or double, it would sell out and it would pump. And that worked like clockwork. And then once that stopped working, that's when I started, doing a deep dive. But I still use that formula to this day. That it's just that it can be botted, and then I created a lot of ways to take that into account. So like when there's a project that, so when whitelist is one of my categories. And if it was a work to whitelist, that would be the best. If it was a really hard whitelist to get, that would be like second best. That would be like a 4. And then the norm is just like raffles, giveaways, and just bullshit like that. And it's pretty easy to get. And then the second one, a 2 point would be, an easy whitelist. And then the worst one would be invite for whitelist. And what would happen in an invite for whitelist scenario would be that the project would become heavily botted. People would use all their alts and they would send them in there and they would get tons of whitelists for themselves. And so in order to cancel that out, I would divide the total number by the amount of invites you would need for whitelist to get a true amount of members in there. So if there was like a count of 3,000 members, but it was 5 invites to whitelist, I would divide 3,000 by 5. And then I would say there's really only 600 members in here. So I would do little things like that. I would go through everything, the category. And after I reviewed about 100 projects, I took all the reviews and I put them into one database. And that was a really exciting time for me because I knew I was going to find like a lot of patterns and anomalies and I'd be able to create some new formulas and stuff like that. So after I reviewed my my database and I broke down all the numbers, I broke everything out. I created new statistical categories. I found a lot of patterns. Like what I found was that all gaming projects all go below mint, everything. Then what I found was that YouTubers did the best. And I'll give you an example, like Timmy the Cat from Raccoon Syndicate, JPG Junkies, The Block is Hot, Cardano Thor, and just, there's a lot of other ones, but anyone who marketed heavy through YouTube or was a YouTuber, they did really well. And it makes sense because a lot of people will trust them, seeing their face all the time. And, they would always do well. So it was little things like that I found. When I would get projects wrong, like let's say Alley Cats. Alley Cats, the reason I got that one wrong, I really didn't. Long term, I got it right. But in the short term, I missed that it was going to sell out and pump. I didn't see that coming. And the reason why I missed that is because Twitter Spaces are very powerful. Twitter is number 2. Twitter Spaces is the second most powerful way of marketing. And they were running spaces for a while. They had gathered a lot of following. I think that's how the Apes Society reached the #1 spot in Cardano. I don't think it had anything to do with their project or the protocols. I think it had everything to do with their Twitter presence and with people like L and Congo and just all the Dr. Oz, all those guys, who were speaking on the Apes' behalf. They reached a lot of people from Ethereum and other chains. And I think that's what propelled them to #1. Another example and anomalies that I found was like Orimob. Why did Orimob do so well? Well, what I realized is that any project that has an artist that has a really big Instagram following sells out and pumps. And another example of that is Mulga Kongs. And even though I knew Mulga Kongs was going to do bad long term because there's no substance in that project, but the artist had a huge following in Australia. He did big business for big companies, so I knew he was going to sell out and pump. I'm
going to jump in real quick. Sorry. With that, there was also Jesus too, who had he was the artist, and they had a big team. It wasn't just like one main artist, but one of the team members did a lot of the work on Adventure Time. And I think a lot of people expected that to kind of pump and go crazy. And that one, it held its floor for a little bit, but it didn't really go too much above. So did you have to did you figure out, which artists with a big following would do well? Because there were a few that didn't.
No, it was just that one dynamic that I knew that like if the artist had a big following, it would do well. And for me, that's just short term because I don't really buy into most of these projects long term because none of them really have a long-term vision. None of them have a money generating mechanic to allow them to, last long-term. That's why like House of Titans is doing well and Dirtbirds are doing well and Goofy Gophers do well because they all incorporated a long-term plan to generate money to keep the project sustainable. So now people can invest in those projects and feel like, oh, they have a plan to always have money, to always be able to develop. And even if the product isn't that desirable, like I don't really know what Dirtbirds is doing. Like they're doing some gamification, right? And I support Dirtbirds. I have a couple of outposts, a couple of drapes because they're OG in the project. I know that the guy Dave, he works hard and I want things like that to continue. Same thing with like Goombles, with Farmer Nash. Like I have NFTs from projects like these that have good long-term visions and work hard. But most of these projects don't have a money generating mechanic involved in them, and their long-term outlook is bleak because how are they going to last, especially when almost every project in Web3 really has no demand because they're creating like this digital niche stuff that like no one, there's not a demand from from thousands of people from other chains coming to other chains for these specific things. So
right.
it's tough.
With Farmer Nash, I know that you said you didn't really believe that most gaming NFTs would last. You said they'd go below their floor or whatever. Is that, do you have a different opinion with Farmer Nash's game?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's the only one that I have a different opinion on. Everyone else I feel is all in the same. You know what it is that I don't support gaming projects because they're mostly grifts, especially metaverses. They come in and they're like, oh, we're going to create a metaverse or we're going to create this game, but there's no like true direction for it. There's no vision. They're just creating this random shit, and that's why they all end up rug pulling and failing because they're not really, they don't even know what they're doing. They're just like building crap and it's, very amateur game developers. It's low quality product that they build. And with Farmer Nash, from the beginning, he had the vision of, okay, I'm going to attack tower gaming because that's the #1 demand in the gaming industry. And he took a very simple approach and he did a lot of research and he really like had a plan to attack making a game that has a lot of demand. And he had a lot of focus on gamification to make it fun. Like with the metaverses, there's no gamification. You literally just walk around an empty universe with like some graphics, but you can't really do anything. You can't hit anybody, you can't punch, you can't kick, you can't drive, you can't pick stuff up. Like you can't do shit. And it's going to take years before you do that. Why would you invest in that? That's ridiculous. Like hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars you're going to spend to own a part of this low quality amateur game. So even if Farmer Nash's game doesn't generate money, I still will support it because I think it's something cool for the ecosystem and it's something good for the community to have because it's going to be a legitimate, like real game, Right. So like, I like that. And I think it does have a chance to make some money.
Right. So you were saying, your basic, you came in like everybody else trying to make money and then you tried to figure out, okay, I'm not making money. Let's like really get to the bottom of this so that I can. And that's when you created your, actually have a picture of your old work if you want me to bring that up.
The template.
Yeah,
the template. It's one of the templates. I know you've made a few.
I made hundreds of these things.
Yeah. So
no, that's from Injective. So when I broke down the entire Injective ecosystem, all the NFTs, or almost all of them, like the top like 80 or top 100. And I separated all the ones that were below mint price, and I separated the ones that were above mint price and the ones that were free mints. And just by the price action, and it shows you like how many X's it is above mint price, like 15X above mint, 10X, 5X. So if you were looking to get into the Injective ecosystem and you were looking to find like the right projects, the good ones, you just go to that green part of that breakdown and you pretty much look at the top 10 projects and you choose from there. And that's your safest way to invest in Injective, and leave all the red ones for the trash. Don't invest in those. And some of the free ones may be good too. You can look into those. But I mean, those are the kind of statistics I was making when I was breaking down Injective. I was thinking about launching on Injective. I'm still not 100% sure if I will launch on them. They are my number 5 because I want to launch on 5 separate chains, because I'm trying to do something that's multi-chain to bring the chains together. Like one of my logos on the bottom, it says Unite the Chains. That's kind of like something from like Braveheart when he's like Unite the Clans. I think my project is based on solutions, on providing solutions for not just Cardano, but for all of Web3 in the difficulties that we face in the NFT industry. And, everything in the NFT industry is wrecked. Everything, does pretty bad. And no one's moving. It doesn't seem like anyone's really moving in the right direction. Like apes, they left the ecosystem and now they're going to base to go after SocialFi. And to me, SocialFi is bullshit. That's like the metaverse from last cycle. Like, what the hell is SocialFi? It's going to be the same exact thing. You're going to have these low amateur developers, creating this SocialFi network that there's no demand for. Besides, people in very niche people in Web3 may want to use it, but it's never going to go beyond that. You're never going to have regular people using it.
Well, to be fair, Ethereum tried SocialFi, and it worked for a little bit, but then fell off the face of the earth. And that was almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's like play to earn. That was big too. Like Axie Infinity was huge, but it's not a good system.
Like you would get social status and broke off based on how your Twitter was moving up and down the scale. Essentially, you would connect your Twitter by holding this one like NFT, and then all of a sudden you'd see people like straight up like social farming, essentially, like to get their numbers up, like posting shit clickbait. You know what I'm saying? Just to get numbers up and this, that, and the other. Yeah. Like top 10 reasons you won't believe number 6. You know what I mean? Right. And they tried that on Ethereum and people were making money, but then all of a sudden, like the money stopped, and therefore.
But that's the same thing. That's the same thing with the NFTs, right? Is NFTs were making people money, and now, like as a whole, almost all of them aren't.
Yeah,
right? Even the ones that were up are down big from where.
Yeah, I mean, I like it's cool to have a grandiose vision and have this big thing, but at times like today, you got to focus on money. Like what I mean? Like how are you going to bring money in to the idea? Like. I'll support that no matter what. Like derps or whatever, people are looking at like what they're getting, and they're like, "Oh, this ain't anything." But it's like, well, it's better than what you had before. Sure, it might not be ideal. Everybody's expecting to drive a Lambo with their first airdrop of coins or like whatever it is, But it that's not realistic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, your first drop should be pretty decent, right? But unless you're a huge whale, I wouldn't expect like life-changing money from doing things passively. Like it's okay to get like a steady uptick, right? But people are expecting like $1 million, and if it doesn't make $1 million, oh, this ain't for me.
Yeah, the mining is speculative, but it's still, it's still worth a shot because it's good for the community, and it can work, and it's worth a shot. Like it's not something that we should just throw on the side and be like, oh, now we're not doing this. I support it. I don't really believe that it's going to work that well, but I don't know if it won't. So I'm down to test it out. I mean, I have a couple outposts. I'm testing it out. I'm down for the ride. It's not like you're investing a lot of money, but you have to test out these things and support these things that could, help the ecosystem and push the ecosystem forward. And those are the kinds of projects that I like. Those are the ones I advocate for.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on too, because I know originally when we spoke about the idea, it was going to be an alpha group, but now it's, this Web3Estate. Is it going to be both? Is it both an alpha group and an estate plan?
The thing is that I'm an alpha just by nature. So I'm always going to provide alpha. I'll always entertain alpha callers. So, when I have my own server, I already have, but there's always going to be a space for that, you know, and just by nature, like I can't help it. So when I started my project at first, you know, I wasn't sure of exactly the direction I was going to go in. I wasn't sure if I wanted to pursue my my big vision, my big plan. But in the end, I ended up figuring I have to, like, I have to go after the big plan because it makes the most sense. And it's, for me, I really feel that it's what the industry needs. I think it would be huge for the NFT market, and I think it would be big for Cardano, and I think it solves like a lot of the problems. You want me to get into it?
Yeah, let's touch on it, man. I know you said you wanted to try 5 different chains as well and be, you know, all across chain. That way, you know, it's not just relying on Cardano or just relying on Injective or whatever. You could touch on that if you wanted to. Maybe talk about the supply and all that.
Well, see, being an analyst and deep diving into like hundreds of different projects, reading hundreds of roadmaps, seeing all the different dynamics that they use to market their project in all the different ways. I've learned so many things, and I remember everything. And I know all the little things that stick out, like the craziest things. You know, I'll give you an example, like TED Nation. When TED Nation was going to sell out, I was like, there's no way they're going to sell out. The stupidest thing in the world is literally Ted from the movie Ted, and they're selling like that cartoon picture. And then they sold out, and they were making fun of me. I said I was going to eat my hat on YouTube if they sold out. You know, I still owe them that. But you know, I respect them for what they did. I respect them for how they try to protect the space, and you know, they were doxing people, whatever. And they did well. You know, I was just wrong about that, and I can you know, I confess up to that. And I looked into why they sold out and how they sold out and what dynamic they actually used to sell them out, and it's very interesting. What they did is, and you know it from NFT Seeker, Atlanick, because this is, I told Miguel to create that tool for me, and that's what sold out NFT Seeker. That's what made them blow up. And I really wish I didn't give him that, because, you know, he ended a rug pull. But TED Nation, they incentivized all their community members to click on the emojis under announcements and under the sneak peeks and everything. And when people would go through their server, they would see like 500, 600, and then all 20 of them would be lit up under everything. And people were like, oh shit, I haven't seen this much engagement, you know, since Clay Nation. They have just as much engagement as Clay Nation. This was, Clay Nation was pumping. So it was just a way to, they found a very specific way to create hype, and it worked really well. And then like a year later or many months later, I told Miguel from NFT Seeker to create that bot to count all the reactions underneath announcements and sneak peeks. And then he started selling that bot to projects, and projects were using it and selling out. It was working. It was working until it stopped working, because then people started noticing, and I'm like, oh, I'm not feeding into this bullshit anymore. I'm not letting this hype me up. But you know, those are the things that like I learned, you know, by doing my analysis. And another one, so we were talking about why mint on so many chains. Well, one thing that I learned was Raccoon Syndicate. I didn't think that was a good project. You know, hold to earn, like you just hold the NFT and then you earn like rings and wings and you just put it on your NFTs. Like, how can that ever be sustainable? How can that ever have a long lasting demand? You know, it's like junior high school stuff.
The idea behind that was that, you know, it would be a game, but it would be a passive game. Like you said, you're holding to earn. So it'd be like, you know, if you had this trait, then you would be given, you know, these points, and you could use these points to buy, you know, another trait, or buy like a serum that doubles your trait points for the next time. And it was kind of like, you know, like that. It was like half game, half just hold to earn. But I think anything that doesn't directly ask for a little bit of form of engagement is going to be, you know, people are going to fall off and forget about it.
Well, yeah, because if you're holding and you're earning these things and you're even playing the game, but you don't really get anything of value. It's just all like an idea, and everyone has to feed into it. And over time, people, like you said, people lose interest, and now there is no demand for it, because why would people even want that stuff? You know, if you tell anyone outside of like NFTs,
they would have, if the prizes were good enough, they could have kept people engaged. But I think that kind of comes into like, you know, then we're going to burn through all of the project's money that we made just to keep people engaged. And then at the end of a year, then all the money's gone and we can't do anything. So like,
you have to be able to generate money.
Yeah, 100%.
So one thing that I'm taking from Tim the Cat, because he marketed his project brilliantly, is one of the best marketing campaigns I've ever seen. So I give Tim the Cat a lot of credit. He has his Degonomics with his project, and but the way he minted, he minted 10,000, and he marketed through YouTube like crazy. It was the biggest YouTube marketing campaign I've ever seen. And I gave him a bad review in the beginning, but then like a couple months, but I still early enough. Months before he minted, I completely changed my analysis. I gave him a green score, and I predicted that his floor was going to be 200 ADA, and it was 200 ADA for like a year. But what he did was that he minted in 3 different phases. He minted like 3,000 at one time, then another 3,000 another time, and then 4,000, something like that, or 4,000. He did whatever he did. He minted like in 3 phases,
you had
and
to,
it
like,
worked
from the previous to get into the next one. So it gave value to the OGs, right? The originals.
But it worked brilliantly though. It worked really well. Before every mint, it pumped. It just worked really well. And I'm kind of like, so all the things that I've learned from being an analyst, I'm trying to use to incorporate in my project. I'm kind of like reverse engineering my analysis in order to create a good project. And I'm also using all the things that I've learned, the flaws that we have in NFTs and projects, to come up with solutions. So, like we were talking about, the flaws is an NFT project has to be a money generating business. That's the most important thing. So I would never have came out with a project unless it was going to work and be beneficial for people, or else I would be a grifter, and I'm not trying to do that. My whole time here, I've been providing all the work that I've done for free. I've never taken money from anybody, and I've never, was looking to take advantage of anybody. I've only been trying to help people. And I'm trying to use all my skills, to bake it into this project. And it's very interesting. So like I have a long, and also another thing is that I'm older than most of the people in the space. I'm going to be 45 next month. So I'm like an old man. So
Bro, there's no way you're 45.
Yeah, you don't look 45. That's crazy.
Right? I am. I'm an old man. I was born in 1979.
Bro,
so I have a lot of life. Huh?
I am 40.
Yeah.
You're
OG too, man.
Yo, we're
and,
good.
And you're in the same boat. You have life experience, you have business experience, so you understand all this stuff. And that's my advantage of being 45. It was a disadvantage trying to learn everything, but now that I learned everything, it's an advantage. And look, how many people in their early 40s can enter crypto and then become like an amazing analyst? You know what I mean? Like it's hard. And the reason why I'm able to do that is because like I'm really good at math. I won awards for math my entire academic career, and I've always won for being the best. I was always the best in the class, best in the school, and I'm very competitive. I like to compete when I'm on Cardano. When I'm analyzing projects, I want to be the best analyst, and I want to be the best by being the best, by putting in all the work, because I know that the harder you work, the bigger your rewards are. And it's very important, to work super hard and to, have a high motor. And that's how I am. Also, as far as competition, I'm a 2-time All-American track runner. I've took my team to the championship in my basketball league many times. Same thing. I've won a lot of championships in my football league. I just love to compete. And when it comes to this project, it stems from an idea, a business idea. And that's very important, because that's what you need an NFT project to be, a money generating business. And that's where this all stems from, is a business idea I had like maybe 10 years ago. It was an idea that I was going to use maybe when I retired, when I had built up enough money and I had the time to execute it. And what it is I own 4 acres in the Poconos, and there's an existing rental market in the Poconos. So it's good to start a business in a market that already has demand, right? But that's not enough though, because anyone can do that. So I did 2 things that's really cool. And it's I'm incorporating a dynamic from an NFT project that actually gives us an advantage in a money generating business in an existing market. We can enter this market with 2 advantages over all the other competition. And this way we can dominate the market. So I'm not just, suggesting that we enter this rental market. I'm presenting a plan that we're going to enter this rental market with 2 huge advantages, and we're going to use that to dominate that market. And that's unheard of. No NFT project has ever done it before.
Yeah, we'll
All right,
pause
so-
right here.
So explain just one quick second. So the Poconos, right, is like a vacation spot.
Yeah.
And it's known for its like scenic view in mountains, correct?
Right.
Okay. Just making sure that everybody is clear on that. Like
I got some pictures.
this was like one of the best honeymoon spots for Jesus.
I might have been there.
Everybody got laid in the Poconos. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah, as far as amenities in the Poconos, like for decades, it's been designed to cater to short-term rentals. So, you have skiing there, you have indoor water parks for the winter, you have outdoor water parks for the summer, you have like theme parks. What is there? Some kind of chocolate candy land is over there. Hershey Park, I think. There's horseback riding, there's whitewater rafting, there's casinos, gun ranges, outlets, flea markets, Delaware Water Gap. There's tons of things, that are there, and they've been building that area out, like I said, for decades to cater to these short-term rentals. So the advantages that I'm saying that we have when we enter this market is, one of them is just the most important thing of all, is money. Let's say a used house in the Poconos, probably like maybe over $100,000, right? It's very cheap. But it would probably need a lot of work. Now, a brand new house in the Poconos would be like, give or take, like around $450,000. A nice brand new house, 3-bedroom standard house. Now, what I propose is that, we mint a collection of 10,000, 5 different chains, 2,000 each chain. And we raise $1 million, which is pretty normal for an NFT project. Like many NFT projects have raised $1 million. So it's very doable. It's very normal. It's within the normal range. And everyone else that we're competing with in the rental market is working with much less money. And also they are working with a mortgage. They're taking out a loan maybe to build a house. They have a mortgage to pay at the end of the month. So we're coming in and we're coming with $1 million. Let's say we put a couple $100,000 on the side for the NFT aspect side of the project. And then we maybe have like $750,000 left to build this house, which gives us an excess of maybe like $300,000. So we're going to build this house and offer more, with more amenities and more luxury than any other home in the area can offer. But at the same time, we're building this house as like a blockchain museum for all 5 of the chains, where when you come in, the whole house is littered with like digital frames that have like infographics or pictures of NFTs, collections, and just marketing advertisement for Web3. And we'll have custom made furniture that maybe can depict NFTs, like a blue suede couch for the Cardano lounge. We can have a prison themed room for like the 8 inmates. We'll have a huge gaming room with all the Web3 gaming in it from those 5 chains. We'll have all the music. We'll have that gaming room will also be like a recording studio where we have music from all of Web3, movies from Web3, from like things like Newcast. And one of the amenities I wanted to have is have an outdoor blow-up projecting screen and, display movies there, speakers throughout the house. And I want to also make the home interactive. So where holders have access to these digital frames and they can control what goes in them. They can put their NFT collection in there. They can make infographics. They can make videos, tutorial videos, how to open up wallets, how to use protocols about certain projects, certain games. And I think it's a cool idea because it's something that's never been done before. And you think about it from the renter side. Now, a renter is looking to rent in the Poconos. So you go online and now you're looking through all these houses, and our house offers way more than any other house. And then on top of that, it's offering you this whole Web3 experience, this crazy cool experience, a smart home, advanced technology, whatever. And a lot of people don't know shit about crypto and NFTs and Web3, and they really do want to learn. And you come rent this home, stay there for the regular price, because we're not going to charge more money for the home. And that's what allows us to have an advantage over everyone else. So everyone else is charging the standard price, and so are we, but you're going to get way more with our home. And the reason why we're going to do that is because our goal is not to collect maximum profits yet. Our goal is to have a high turnover rate, to keep this house rented every day of the year. You know, when someone goes on and they're looking for a house, we should be the number one choice. It should be clear cut. We're the number one choice. We have more to offer than anyone else. And everything is feasible. So, you know, we want to have a high turnover rate. So we bring in as many people as possible to onboard as many people as possible. So we can get as many people as possible to create wallets, to, you know, use these protocols and to buy into Web3. And it also creates a sense of community between chains to support each other. You know, and like part of like my whitelisting system is going to be, you know, when we go to mint on ordinals, that everyone has to learn how to make all the different ordinal wallets, how to use certain protocols, how to use their DeFi. And then when we go to Solana, it's going to be the same thing. When we go to Base, it'll be the same thing. Go to Injective, it'll be the same thing. So Cardano wants other chains to come here and provide us with liquidity. But you have to scratch their back before they scratch yours. No one's coming here, bro, unless you go and you support their chain, and then they feel that love, and then they'll come back and support you. And what better way to do it with the best project that's ever been made? Because that's what I consider this to be. I consider this to be the best project. It's a money generating business, and it's sustainable. There's not going to be a mortgage. The house is going to be paid off. I would say that we would have to rent the home out 1 weekend a month in order for it to generate enough money to be sustainable, except we're designing it to be rented out every day of the month. So we should be generating money.
Nice.
Now,
I wanted to say too, because James asked a while back, he said, what is the link of your project? I do have the link to the Discord and to the Twitter in the description below if you wanted to check that out.
Yeah, it's cool. You could share the white paper also if we had a chance. Yeah. So that's the short-term view of the home. And then also on top of it, this isn't a random idea to just build a rental home. I've been in the construction industry for over 20 years. I started as a union carpenter. I was an electrician. I was a steam fitter. I had my own company. And then I got into management. I got into management by working as a steam fitter in a high rise, and it was a 40-story building. And then after a year of working with them, they made me a supervisor for 3 brand new high rises being built in New York City. After that, the company that hired that company hired me as a superintendent to work for them in, you know, building these high rises. I built them they were a startup company. I built them their first successful high rise HVAC system in a high rise. Then the second building I did for them was the most profitable job they ever had. Then I left that company to get a new role as a project manager for an HVAC company. Then I left that job to take almost a year off to figure out Cardano. You know, and was that year that I started my analysis and everything. And that was that year that I took off. I wanted to figure everything out here. Then I went back to work, and I got the job that I really wanted, was to be a project manager of a general contracting company, that means that that's the company that's in charge of everything, in charge of all the trades. They're responsible for building the entire building out, you know, from bottom to top, start to finish. And that was my goal, to learn everything about construction, because that was like my goal. My long-term goal was to learn everything that I could and then leave and go off on my own and start my own business. So when I got into management, I really kept pushing hard to keep moving up. And, you know, the system that I use to analyze NFTs, where I break down information, I break them down to their smallest components, and I try to rebuild the information in a more efficient and usable way. And I got that from how I build high rises. You know, you would think that these buildings go up, you know, well, but they don't. There's a lot of loss. There's a lot of mistakes. They build shit 2-3 times over. And what I specialize is minimizing loss, minimizing mistakes, eliminating them, and just incorporating systems that prevent loss. So I'm really good at what I do. And after I was a project manager for a GC, their senior project manager got fired because he kept making mistakes. And then the controller of the company, the estimator, he got let go also, and I took his spot. So I'm now like, the top guy in my company, the estimator, director of construction. And over these last 6-7 months, I haven't been that involved on Cardano because the ecosystem's kind of dead. There's nothing really much going on. But I've been working really hard on my career and learning this new trade. It was very interesting. Like now I get to crunch all the numbers from these huge jobs, big buildings, renovating homes, renovating buildings, and every aspect of it, the concrete, the steel, the bricks, the carpentry, electric, plumbing, steam fitting, like roofing, windows, everything that a job entails. I'm balls deep in it, breaking it down completely, finding the trades, breaking the job down and compartmentalizing it into each trade, and then giving it to getting bids from all the different subs, and then making sure that the subs cover all their scope of work and provide a good price for it. And then we choose the best subs, and we award them the job. And then I track and I manage it.
Are you the main guy? I mean, obviously you're the main guy for this project, but will there be anybody underneath you or other people working with you? Because I just noticed that it says you'll be fully doxed. So I was just wondering if you hired anybody else, if you would expect them to dox as well.
Well, of course. I mean, if I'm hiring people, it's going to be companies, so they're already going to be doxed. Shit, I'm running out of battery. So what's going to happen is I might use my boss to help me out, his company, just depending on how far we go. I'm going to have to hire subcontractors, to perform certain aspects of the work. But the thing is, the main key is that this is what I do for a living. And building a house is like a walk in the park for me. I've been involved in at least 10 different high rises, 40 stories, 30 stories. One of them was like 60 stories. And, and I understand every single trade worth of work. I've worked in most of them. I've done with my own hands. I've wired entire houses. I've put up walls and, flooring and electric, plumbing, everything, HVAC, air conditioning systems, all kinds of things. So what happens in the industry is that the money touches a lot of different hands. So that's one of our strategical advantages also, is that the money is not going to go to a owner's representative. And then the owner's representative then hires a general contracting company. And then the general contracting company then hires subcontractors. And subcontractors can even sub out their work. So the money touches a lot of different hands, and I eliminate that by hiring workers directly and performing certain aspects of work without hiring a subcontractor, but just by running that work myself. And
so for the most part, you'll be hiring just like temporary work to get some of the things done, but there's
right.
Probably not going to be like a second in command or whatever with the project.
There shouldn't be, no. Maybe like my boss will help me. It depends. Just for certain things, like I'm going to have to hire a company to pour the foundation. I'm going to have to hire a company to frame the house. But then when it comes to, and then I'll probably I'll have to hire a company to do the siding, to do the roofing. But I know how to price those things out, and I know how to, go out there into the market and fetch good prices, because that's what I do professionally. Right. When it comes to building out the inside of the house, I'm going to run the carpentry, building out all the walls. I'm going to run wiring the house. I'm going to run the plumbing. I'm going to run the HVAC. Not that I'm going to do it with my own two hands. Some of it I might, but I'm going to be hiring the guys directly and running that work, not hiring a subcontractor, but just hiring workers. So that's going to save us an exponential amount of money. And then that money will be able to go into things like amenities. And then one thing I'm planning on doing too is that, everything's going to be transparent. There's going to be a whole financial breakdown of the entire project. You're going to see where all the money's going into every single trade, every single scope of work, everything that has to be paid for, all receipts are going to be there, because that's what the community needs. They need something that they can rely on, something that they can trust, something that's not bullshit, a real money generating business. And this is a good business to attack, because it's like I said from the beginning, you're entering a market that already has demand, and then you're entering the demand with these advantages that no one else has that you can utilize to dominate the market. And the second advantage is the community. We have a community now who's going to be interacting with this home, who's going to be using the digital frames to create marketing in a personalized way. So let's say you go on the website and you want to rent the home, and you have the option now to choose for the personalized experience. So you decide, okay, I would like to choose a personalized experience. So you go there with your son, and it's his birthday, and now you have like a House of Titans community, and you're there singing him happy birthday on the main screen when he walks in. And then you tell him, when you get to the gaming room, we set something up for you, some free skins, some stuff like that, free NFT. Log in, and you can go claim it. And it's little things like that, that would be cool. Playing personalized music for people, personalized drawings for people. Maybe somebody decides they're going to draw someone and make an NFT for them. There's so many cool things that could be done. It's like only limited by your mind, what we can do. And this is an innovative thing. Personalized marketing. It's never been done before. This is like a new invention, and it's really cool. If the advertisement throughout the home works, there's a lot of local businesses in the area. Maybe they would want to advertise through our frames for their business, and the project would be able to generate money in that way. Now, as far as splitting the profits for this house is supposed to create a lot of profits. Now, the land is on 4 acres. Across the street, there's very small plots. It's in a great location. My father owned 100 acres in the Poconos, and he sold all of them like 20 years ago, but he kept 4, and he kept like the best 4 that he felt was the best 4. It's right off of the road, and it's all on flat land. It's ready to build. And the surrounding area, or like the neighboring surrounding area, is like empty. So it's great. It's very peaceful. Across the street, there are small plots that have houses where if we would use that plot structure, we probably could fit like maybe 10 houses on the estate. But the zoning laws would only allow, I think, about 3, the 4 acres to be split into like 3 or 4 plots. But they do make exceptions if you're looking to build something. So I think that if we went and filed something, that they would probably approve maybe building 10 houses. Either way, whether it's 4 or 10, if the first house is successful, and which it should be, this is the long-term vision of the project, then we would get other chains to buy in to this project and create houses for other chains. Maybe we would pull apart, and then Cardano would have its own house, Bitcoin would have its own house, Ethereum would have its own house, Solana would have its own house. And the advantage to that is that every time we would build a home, we would build an outdoor amenity area, and we would keep that in the middle of the estate. And the more homes we build, the more amenities we can connect to the middle, and then the more amenities each home would be able to offer. And then that would be a huge strategic advantage, because let's say we built out 10 homes and now you're renting one of the homes. You would rent a home where for free you would have access to 10 homes amenities, which is a massive amount. So the goal with the profits in the beginning is to, it's tough with the SEC and not being deemed as a security. And that's what we'd be facing right now. So the plan would be to take all the profits, roll it back into the estate, and try to keep building out the amenities in an efficient way, in a way that makes sense, where you're not wasting the money, where it's adding value to the property, like adding a swimming pool, adding a basketball court, adding a bicycle track around, adding a gym, adding a bathroom facilities to the amenity area, just all kinds of things like that, just tricking this place out and slowly turning it into a resort, until we can turn into the Web3 resort. And then now we would be NFT project competing with like these big, huge companies, these big resorts, and maybe we can outcompete them. We'd be able to offer a way better deal than they can. And so that's like the long-term vision.
You have the vision, but you're not sure maybe which coin you're going to start with first, and if it'll branch out into more coins and how fast all that's going to happen. So we'll definitely keep in touch with that. And figure out.
I do have a plan. The plan is to start on ordinals, and start the mint, and then once I get like the funds just from one mint, that's when I can go forward and start and hire the architect and the engineer and start working on the plans and getting everything done, through the through the system, and and then have like a really clear plan moving forward of what everything's going to cost and how everything's going to get done. And then once all 10,000 are minted and we have the full amount of funds, we're going to, we're going to build the home. And I don't see it taking more than 6 months. It should be relatively quick, compared to like some projects that take like a year or more to develop their stuff. Like, this is not going to be like that. And then you're going to have regular updates, video, picture updates, weekly Twitter spaces on the home, on the building of the home. Maybe we'll install cameras that are active live 24 hours a day. So you can, people can look at their investment, because this is all about transparency. This is all about, doing things the right way and giving the community something they've never had before. Something that they can look forward to, something that could be like a beacon of hope for all of Web3, where the whole world can see what an NFT project can create and how cool it can be, and finally give us a good name, because we have people laughing at us on like the Tonight Show, like NFTs are a scam, and it's embarrassing for us, and we have to we gotta switch it up, and I think with this project we could really do it, and it's going to turn into something really, really big.
Now, you said the word hope. And, in your white paper underneath the business strategy, it says to become a beacon of, and then it says $ hope. So it looks like maybe you'll be creating a coin called Hope.
Yeah. So, this is an idea that has only been touched a little bit. The community loves meme coins, right? So that automatically, it's something that's in demand. And if we have a popular project that's in demand, that's doing well, we can drop a meme coin that will do well. And if we're faced with that, with that luxury, we'll use it, and we'll use the coins for a couple of things. When you mint the NFT, you'll probably get a random allocation of the coins. It'll be, I want to make it just as random as like if you pull Laser Eyes or not, but I don't want to have it connected to Laser Eyes. So like if you pull like one that's like pretty common, it can still have the chance that it has a huge coin allocation. I want to make it where the coins is what you would use to access the digital frames. So you would earn, like, you would be able to stake your NFT for like the month, and then you would get that month worth of coins would give you access to the digital frames for that month. And then maybe you can sell your time on the digital frame, because each NFT will come with a period of time that you would get access to the frames, and it would probably like alternate, something like that. And yeah, we would use a coin system, and I think that's how you'd be able to like sell the time that you have for your digital frame. Someone else wants to use it. You own, like, let's say a Saturday on the huge screen in the middle of the living room, and that screen might have a lot of demand, and let's say Charles Hoskinson is going to visit the home that weekend, and then people are like, oh shit, I want to buy that time. I want to be able to use it to put something, it can create a really cool dynamic of demand, if with the right ingredients. So that's where the coin would come in. And I think we could find a lot of use cases for it, and it would be cool. And then also, there's a project out there. I can't say the name of it, but it's one that's part of Cardano that's well known, and they're creating a system in which we would be able to use to help distribute the profits. So, the long-term vision is to distribute profits to holders and for everyone to make money off of this. But I think it's a really good plan to build the estate out into a resort, so we can maximize the amount of profit that the estate could actually make. So this way, when you are collecting profits, you're collecting like the maximum amount of profits that this project could possibly give you. And that would be the best way to do it. And then long term, you would probably make more money off of it that way than from just collecting profits in the beginning and never maxing out the estate. And then also, I would love to use the estate as a foundation to launch other projects, to launch other businesses, and for other projects to use the estate to launch a business or a project. What if their project was just to like build something like really cool on the estate? That could be a sub project. Or if someone wanted to make like a t-shirt built business and they needed somewhere to establish a location, maybe we would give them a free location on our estate because we have it and we don't care and we want to help each other, you know. And when we have, imagine we had 10 homes, you know, on 4 acres, the events that we can host and the parties that we can have and shit like that would be crazy, you know. And then all the people that can link up together, you know. And then here's another dynamic that I thought of too, and this is one that I want to use, and could probably use the coins for this too, is that if the project is successful, right? Let's say we go like a year or 6 months, whatever it takes to establish that, yo, this is working, it's generating money and it's doing well. We will give holders the opportunity to buy the blocks of rental time. So like, let's say, you know, before we release our calendar and the ability to rent the home to the public, we would allow holders to buy those blocks of time out, and then allow the holders to sell to the public at a markup those rental dates, so they can make money. And that's a way for holders. So we're going to create a lot of ways for holders to make money. They're going to make money off of, you know, selling the rental block dates, selling the time that they have in the digital frame, and then eventually collecting profits from the home.
Now, they wouldn't be able to choose the price themselves, would they? Like if I bought the price, because the only thing I'm thinking of is if I knew this is a really nice location and I'm getting it for the fair value and I can use Hope coins to buy that slot, then what I would do is I would know that people like it. So I would just charge an extra $100. And then if that always worked, I would go 200 and I would just keep raising the price until it stopped working. And then you don't have that fair pricing that you were talking about.
Well, no, what I was thinking is I would use like a lottery system in order to be able to choose the people who do get to buy those slots. Because imagine if there's 365 days in a year and there's 10,000 NFTs, it'll be years before everyone gets a shot. So it would have to be random, like almost like a prize that you're winning is the ability to even buy one of those days. But no, like if the standard price of a room, let's say it's about $150, that's what, if you won the opportunity to buy that rental block, that's what you would buy it for. And then you would sell it on our website, you know, at whatever price you want to sell it for. If you take the risk of selling it for too much and you don't get to sell the rental block and then you get screwed with it, you know, that's something that we're going to try to incorporate something so that doesn't happen. So if it gets to like a certain time frame where it's about to, you know, you're about to get screwed, we would try to sell it for you, you know, at a normal price so you can at least get your money back, whatever. We don't want anyone to get screwed. But that's why I was saying that we wouldn't even offer that to the community unless we establish that there is a high demand and we always sell out, so that you would be able to mark it up, even if it was just for a little bit. You know, there would be a Goldilocks zone. We would find the range where the people would be willing to pay. And
right,
it would be
Christmas
more than the standard rate.
Summertime or whatever.
So that's what the advantage for holders would be, is that the project is only going to take the standard amount. We're never going to charge more. The community gets to charge more and gets to make that extra money.
Gotcha. Yeah, we have a few more minutes left. If there's anything that you felt like you didn't get to touch on or something you did want to talk about, I will shout out everybody in the chat. I appreciate y'all. And I know one of the projects that we didn't cover was Snekkies. And I know Snek's been doing a lot of big things. How do you feel about Snekkies and, you know, basically being miners like Goofy Gophers, but for Snek?
Oh, so Snekkies are creating their own Goofy Gophers type project, not through Goofy Gophers, but through themselves?
Right.
They have their own miners?
They're going to be miners, and they're going to be converting a lot of what they mine into Snek and then distributing.
Oh, yeah.
From what I've heard, maybe that's incorrect, but that's the gist that I got.
No, I think that's a great idea. I think it's really cool. You know, Snek is, I said from the beginning, you know, because I'm not a fan of meme coins, but I said from the beginning that Snek is like a beacon of hope for Cardano. That's Cardano's meme coin, and it's always going to be like Cardano's meme coin. So when Cardano pumps, Snek's going to pump. There's no doubt about that, man. That's going to happen. Those NFTs are going to pump. Everything's going to pump. So, and then with them adding the mining to it, that's just a brilliant dynamic that I don't think any other meme coin can even really compete with. Is any other meme? Well, other meme coins have cool things. They have like their own dexes and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's a good, innovative way to push that project forward.
Yeah, we had a crazy sell-off. You see that, Clean?
Yeah, look at that extra large dip right there, dude. Looking so juicy. Yeah, that was insane. And I think somebody tweeted about that like a little while ago.
Yeah, somebody like almost cut the price in half.
Like I
Like
want to say,
that's
I
like
want to
25% off.
yeah, I want to say it was at least like 30K or 60K or something like that all at once.
I don't even know if I'd be able to find it. It'd have to be
Yeah,
so far
it's
down.
nuts.
That would be wild. It would have to be more than that. This looks like I would say this has to be like 200 to 300,000 being dropped
That's crazy.
of Cardano.
And the price looking good, man.
Yeah, and the fact that we bought that dip up too says a whole lot as well.
Yeah.
No,
I
that's
mean,
awesome.
if you're buying that dip, that's pretty good, right
Yeah,
there.
you're up on the day. Hopefully you didn't do that as a trade and dump on us, but
Did you
you're
get into GameStop at all again?
So,
I said get
everybody's
into
been keeping up
GameStop.
with like, have you been keeping up with Roaring Kitty at
Of
all on like the
course.
GameStop stuff?
Of
Agreed.
course.
No, I haven't been looking at that.
Okay, so like 2 weeks ago, he tweeted Roaring Kitty, tweeted for the first time in like 3 years, right? So AMC, GME, all the old meme stocks, and even some others that were just heavily shorted, they pumped and started pumping like crazy for like 2 to 3 days, and then it drastically fell off as it does. But then he tweeted for, he stopped for like a week, and then he tweeted Sunday night his position, his holdings in GameStop, and he was showing that he was holding something like $116 million worth of shares, and then I don't remember the exact amount of money, but he was holding some options that expire in the next 2 to 3 weeks as well, call options on GameStop, and he hasn't sold anything yet as of yesterday, anyways, and now I think it was E-Trade is trying to sue him for manipulation on GameStop trading. And he's proven like, I haven't sold anything. Like, how is this manipulation type thing? So I don't know. It's pretty interesting that he's trying to get sued for the same thing, just like, 3 years later.
Yeah, it's I mean, I said as soon as like I saw that something was going to happen on the 21st, everything was going to basically come to fruition, right? And then I saw
June 21st.
Yeah, June 21st. And so I was like, and then all of a sudden I noticed that there was this huge whale, which happened to be him, that bought a bunch of options for the expiration of June 21st. And next thing you know, like you find out finally after he released his holdings that he was the one who did it. And now people are going like pretty decently nuts about it,
Yeah, this was that first little, crazy hype fest that we had.
And from what I'm understanding is most of the shorts don't have liquidity to that if he if he calls all the options, right? He's like, okay, yeah, I'm doing this, they're going to have to give up so much, or they're going to have to put in more money to cover their losses.
Well, the interesting thing is that after he tweeted that, Berkshire Hathaway had a glitch in its system, and that's what they're saying, anyways. That's the story they're sticking to.
Yeah.
And it dropped like 99% in a day.
Yeah.
And they immediately paused trading on it. They say no trades went through at that price. Who actually knows? And then the price, it took like 4 or 5 hours of them working on it to finally open up Berkshire Hathaway at the correct price on Monday morning. And during that time, they said there was limited trading on, I don't know if it was GameStop and AMC and some others, but I'm pretty sure there was limited trading on those stocks as well. So a lot of people are just like, dude, this is the same bullshit, just news story of trying to stop the short squeeze. So there's all that going on right now, basically.
Yeah. And once you understand, it's a completely rigged system, dude. It is.
It sounds like some fuckery. It does. It like really coincidentally, the first time Berkshire Hathaway has ever done this or any stock has ever gone down 99% due to a glitch happens the day after he tweets and GameStop and AMC are going crazy. Like, I don't know, man. I don't believe in coincidences that strongly.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just for me. It just seems like some tomfoolery is going on. But I'm still holding. What's it at now?
GameStop's at $29.44.
Okay, I bought at 20.
Still up.
Nice.
So I'm up.
Still up. Are you planning on selling or no? Like this
Not
is a
selling
medium
right now.
This is a medium price range to sell, I'd say.
I'm waiting till like the 19th.
Okay.
To sell maybe half.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have a stop loss anywhere?
I'm not losing anything.
Well, sure, but if you wanted to take some profits, maybe a stop loss at 25.
I'm gonna see how far this thing can go.
All right, but I'm just saying, on its way down, I know that mindset changes. So, do you have? If it starts going down to 25, would you sell?
I want to see what happens on the 21st and the 20th.
So no matter what, you're waiting.
Yeah, for a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, people are going to ape in as it gets closer to like the 21st, right? Like,
yeah,
there's going to be probably a pretty decent price fluctuation at that point. And so we'll see what happens.
Let's see where it went to last time. What is this?
70?
64, 70-ish.
Yeah.
In that range. It split. So like, you're not going to get the true.
Yeah.
number.
It was at 74, I think, or 78.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it even might have hit 80 at one point, which was pretty huge, like at the time.
Let's go back to like the one day. Yeah, never mind. That was not the time before. The time before was at 121 or 120, whatever that was.
That's what it topped out at?
Yeah, back in 2021.
Oh, way more than that, bud.
Well, I think it split, did it not? Because I could have sworn I remembered GameStop being at 500.
So it was at like 416 was the absolute top.
Okay.
I cashed out at 383.
They must have split then, like at least a 3-1 or something like that.
Well, they just recently did it. Yeah. Like a 2-1.
Okay.
So yeah.
Speaking of splits, Nvidia is splitting.
Which is
a 10-1.
Fine.
Yeah. It's I don't know. A lot of people, like my brother and I, were talking about it, and he was like, "Dude, I gotta wait till the split so I can get in." And I was like, "It's gonna keep going up until the split, though. Like, even if you get a fraction of a share with $300 right here, like, buying 3 shares for $300, is this the same thing essentially? Like, just buy at the cheaper price. You don't need to wait for the split.
Yeah, just buy."
So he's still waiting, and I don't blame him. It's hard to buy up here. Nvidia's going crazy.
It is. It's gone up 1,000.
It's up like 1,600% or something on a 5-year, or maybe it's a 1 year. I gotta check.
It's never going to stop going up.
No,
there's so much demand for Nvidia.
Nvidia has by far the best graphics cards, and AMD is trying their best, and I love AMD. I'll always hold it, but yeah, AMD is nowhere close to where Nvidia is right now. Let's see, what is it on the year? It's up 211%. On the 5-year, it's up 3,471%.
Insane.
That's wild. That's absolutely wild.
Could have had 6 Lambos by now.
I know. I bought 8 shares at $60 back in the day, and now I sold 3 of them at $700 because I thought like, oh, this is just way too high. Like, it's going to come back down. Like, the S&P 500 wasn't even up that high. I was like, this is just completely overbought. This AI hype is getting out of control. And nah, they kept going. They proved that their AI hype wasn't BS. So now I'm only holding 5 shares that I'll never sell.
Well, one of the big things is Elon Musk's AI company. I think they're using NVIDIA chips, and they need billions of dollars worth of them.
Yep, his new XAI company, right?
I think something like $3 billion worth of chips is what they need.
Yeah,
crazy.
For his like algorithm of learning needs to go through those NVIDIA chips. He could choose. I think what Microsoft is choosing to do now is a hybrid of talking to Intel, Micron, NVIDIA, and AMD. Because I was hearing some bullish things on like all the chip stocks, but they also said that they were with AMD and NVIDIA. So I wonder if there's like an A team in Microsoft and then like a B team that's trying to work on the AMD stuff and make it better. But I don't know. There's a lot of AI hype that's pretty interesting. I was actually thinking, agreed with your analysis and what you do, you could use AI to help with some of that. I know we've spoken about that in the future or in the past. But you were saying like what you do mostly has to be done by hand because a lot of the information is in like Discords or on Twitter. So it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, you can't automate a lot of it, you know. So like, how do you automate the whitelisting method? Or how do you automate like the category, whether it's a YouTuber or it's gaming? You know, it's there's certain things that you just can't automate.
Right.
How do you automate the you know, the engagement on Twitter? You have to like go and count all the likes and comments and create an average and the retweets, and you have to average out all those numbers and then choose a specific amount of time that you're going to research. And same thing with the Discord with the engagement. That's just something that you can't automate. You have to do it by hand. And that's why I like doing what I do, because people always are looking for the easy way. They're looking for a way to just like automate stuff and like scrape stuff with a bot and then, you know, throw it into a program, push a couple of numbers and then shit to pop out. But that's not the way things are done, man. You got to do things by the real shit. You got to do by hand. You got to get dirty.
Yeah, I would say, you know, I fall into that category a lot of times too. Like, oh, I can just automate this so I can have more time for this or whatever. But unless you're actually going to use that time for something else to make the business better, you know, a lot of the times I feel like we do just get lazy with all the technology that does everything for us. Even like, you know, doing dishes and doing laundry, you just throw it into a machine nowadays, right?
Yeah.
We're just getting more and more lazy.
So
but
what made you think of like the ordinals, like doing an ordinals for like first?
Well, ordinals are popular right now, you know, and I want to do Cardano last because I want to bring all the chains to Cardano last. So if we're going to start somewhere, you know, ordinal is a good place to start. Base could be a good place to start. After I looked at Injective, that was not a good place to start. And what's the other one? In Solana, they could be a good place to start too. But I think ordinals is the hottest right now. So I would just start there.
I would agree. I think as Bitcoin goes higher and higher, ordinals is going to continue to pop off and be the dominant chain.
Yeah, I think it's the best to start from the most hype chain, then go down successively like from there. Like maybe Solana would be number 2, and then or Base would be number 2. I don't know which one's more popular right now, but then those two, and then Injective, and then Cardano, or maybe not Injective. I'm not sure.
I would say Sol, but they like more degen shit, don't they? Like quick flips and like stuff like that.
Yeah, but the thing is that for the project, I feel it's important to incorporate the top blockchains.
Right.
And, you know, just for just to be realistic, you know, because that's what's out there. And that's if you're going to encourage people to get involved in crypto, you should encourage them to get involved in, like, you know, the big chains where the volume is, where the value is. So I'm not going to like try to tell people to get into these chains that are like just starting out that might not even work out. And then, you know, it can end in a disaster. Those chains might not be around in like a year or two. I'd rather it be like the main chains that are definitely going to be here. And then that will be the foundation. And then the smaller chains can come after in the other homes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, man. What do you think about the apes leaving and all that scenario?
I think that's terrible, man. I think it's a cowardly act. Shows zero loyalty. You're supposed to be loyal to your chain. You're not supposed to leave your chain, man. That's like messed up. And especially if that's the narrative that you're creating and that you're using. Like, oh, we love Cardano to the moon, everything Cardano. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, screw Cardano, doesn't scale enough for us, we're leaving. That's grimy. What the hell is that?
I feel the same way. And they said multiple times, even when they messed up. I remember they messed up and they announced something about maybe bridging over to another chain. Maybe it was Base
Sol.
at the time.
It was Sol.
It was Sol. Yeah. And they came back out and they were like, actually, no, we're never leaving Cardano. We just want to make that abundantly clear. And then just like a month later, they do this. And it's just like, bro, can I listen to your word anymore? Like, you literally changed it up twice within 2 months.
I don't understand why they couldn't just reach out to another chain and try to start a project there, but like linked to Cardano and not leave Cardano, but like do a multi-chain, make your project multi-chain. That would make more sense, you know. And then you would kind of like bridge Cardano holders to that other chain, and then maybe, you know, that chain would you know, feel the love and reciprocate. But to just leave, what do you think the people on Base are going to think? Are they going to think like, oh yeah, let's go after this project? They just abandoned Cardano and everyone's pissed. And what if things don't go well on Base? Then what's going to happen? Then they're going to be abandoned next. Like, how do you put your trust in that?
They're not thinking shit. You can look at Magic Eden. This This thing was poorly planned, poorly executed, period, in the story. There was no hype. There was no onboarding of base users. There was no hype for base users. And you can tell just by their sales. They were like, oh, look at Cardano's sales. We're still leading or whatever. Sure, great. Well, how's your base sales going? Which is where you're going. Like, what have you done? 4 sales in the past, 4 or 5 days?
I will admit that I do see base growing, and the fact that Coinbase, on their app, it leads you straight to a coin wallet, and it's like really easy to use and bring users into it. So I think over time, yeah, there will be more people on base, but I don't know if people are going to choose Ape Society.
Why? They're not. They don't have funds. What funds do they have besides all the liquidity they extracted from Cardano?
But what value would you get if you invested in them? What would you get?
Right.
Your money.
There's no
Hopefully they have
anymore.
something. Hopefully
and where's the demand for what they're creating? How are they going to generate money? How are they going to be sustainable? Like, there's no answers for any of that. There's no real true vision. It's just a leap for a cash grab. That's it.
For NFTs though, like I've been saying this, everybody talks about how Cardano is like slowing down, or there's not a lot of hype on Cardano, but there's only a lot of hype on Sol, some maybe ordinals, and maybe base, but all the other chains like Matic and Optos and just all the other chains in general are doing the same thing Cardano's doing. It's falling behind, but it's like it's still incrementally slowly going up. So until all the other chains underneath Cardano start going parabolic and we're being left behind, I don't think Cardano is failing or even like acting sluggish. Like, we're just doing what all the other chains besides the top 4, and the top 4 I consider Binance, Solana, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. Other than those 4, nothing else is even coming close to hitting an all-time high. So until that happens, I'm not worried about Cardano. I think Cardano is going to do just fine.
8 sales so far. That's my bad.
You were wrong by double. How dare you?
I can't believe this.
Someone made a good point about Cardano is that, all the people who don't know shit about Web3, which is the majority of people, they still love Cardano. They don't know about how wrecked the NFT industry is and how wrecked Web3 is. They just know that like Cardano's a top coin and Charles Hoskinson has this amazing vision, and they've been buying into that for years already. So I think that when we reach the bull market, that's gonna repeat itself. People are still gonna just ape into Cardano again, and people want to be part of that vision.
On Twitter, like Solana could be down, the whole network could be down. You still have people talking, Solana's way better than Cardano, this and that. So as a new Solana user, you're going onto Twitter, you're looking up, you're doing your research, and all you see is a bunch of hype from a bunch of people. Like, you don't know any better. That might still bring you to Solana because of the fake positivity that they have around it. But you go to Cardano, and the first thing you might see is somebody complaining about the Ape Society's project leaving. And there's a lot of negativity in that sense, I would say, for like your first, let me do a little bit of research on Twitter. You have a little bit more negative connotation towards Cardano. And that's the part that I think might be a little frustrating. But I also think that there's going to be multiple waves to onboarding new people. And this is just the first wave of hype. Like, Bitcoin is being fully accepted. We have ETFs now. We're starting to fully put it into our legal system and tell people this is not going away. This is not a scam. This is real. And this is how we're proving that. And so much so that we're going to put our own money there, the US government and their banks and all that. Right. And so that's the first thing, is like convincing people that this isn't just bullshit. We're not just here to be here. And then the second wave is going to be, what does each chain actually do? Right. So a lot of people don't know even today that Ethereum has the highest gas fees, and that it's really rough to do any trading on Ethereum. They don't understand like why there's a base or why there's, Injective or any other coins, right? They don't know what Chainlink is. They don't know that it's an oracle that provides information to other ecosystems that can, give you onboard or on-chain data. They don't know any of this. So that's going to be a whole nother wave. And when that comes, maybe Cardano starts to get more respect then, when people start to understand, like, okay, it was built so that it doesn't crash, and it was built so that security is the #1 priority. And they start to understand that in these other chains, it's lagging a little bit. And maybe that's when we start to actually get the respect that we believe we deserve.
Yeah, I think Cardano just needs to get to the point where they can scale, and we can provide a place for the #1 use case for crypto in all of Web3 is degenerate gambling. There's nothing causes more volume than hype mints and meme coins. And when other chains try to come to Cardano to do that, it's like a disaster. The chain, slows down to like a crawl. So a lot of projects don't want to come here and mint because of that. So it's hard for us to cater to the number one use case of Web3. And then also, developers like people like Charles Hoskinson, they hate that shit. That's the number one use case is degenerate gambling, because he's trying to create like this whole financial infrastructure for the world. And everyone is basically not using the toy that he's creating, but using the box it came in. So, that's the biggest hurdle we have to get over. And I think once we scale, we will clearly be the best chain, because Cardano could do mad shit. I've been here for 3 years, and when I first got in, I remember sending an NFT to another wallet, and that shit just never went there. And I thought, like, all right, I just lost that NFT. That shit is gone. And then like a week later, it showed up, and I'm like, oh, there it is. And there were so many things. It was so buggy and so slow. And then I watched it, all these improvements, all these updates, and then all these new capabilities, like sending, I can send 50 different NFTs to 50 different wallets from one wallet. And you could do cool things like that. There's just all the smart contracts that you can have, and the capabilities, the functions that Cardano does I think is much more sophisticated than most chains.
Definitely. I mean, it takes a while because it's validating through so many different areas, and that's what makes it so safe. But that's, I think, where the corners were cut in Solana and some of these other faster networks are just boom, automatically done. But that attracts a whole lot more people, like you said. So I don't know, as long as we can get through it. I know a lot of people say Hydra, but Hydra is not even the full solution to that. Hydra only helps with, I think it's a V2 or V3 Plutus smart contracts, or however that works. Smarter guys than me could probably tell you about all that. But yeah, I just realized we've been here for about an hour and 20. Normally we only do an hour, but completely lost track of time.
Can we talk about one thing?
Yeah, go for it.
What about Yummy?
Yeah, Yumi rugged. Officially, I guess yesterday there was an announcement, or 2 days ago, that the founder, I guess, the founder who took over, right, took the funds and basically just left.
There's been a release just a little bit ago of a unrugging of Yumi by the team. Yeah, they are taking over. I believe they said it was from. They're basically going to take back the project. They're getting back all of the IP from Nick Jorans. Yumi Universe is attempting to regain assets and keep pushing forward after Nick Jorans steals the treasury. So yeah, we are in the middle of a rapidly evolving situation following the recent events involving Nick Jorans. We are now in negotiations to regain control over all Yumi Universe assets.
Nice.
I mean, I guess, is anybody actually going to trust the project again?
I mean, it sounds like there was a head guy, right? And a lot of the underlings were like, yo, when this, when that. And he was just like responding, but barely. And now they're just like, all right, well, let's just tell everybody it rugged so that, this guy can't just go off into the midnight. And he is probably being threatened with legal action. And he's probably like, you know what? Let me just back off. Let me give these things back. Let me not tarnish my name. And that's probably, if I had to guess, like how everything's being handled right now, is by these people who aren't necessarily team members, but they're probably mods or holders. And they're like, yo, I'm going to sue you unless you do this. That's what I would assume is happening. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like you wouldn't take the funds and do very little with it over all this time and then immediately just be like, all right, you know what, here, you can take it all, unless you knew you were in the wrong.
We're agreed. We're going to need another analysis here.
Well, I mean, I don't have any faith in the Yummy project. I mean, I don't think any project like Yummy will do well long term because there's no demand for it outside of this niche Cardano community, and there's no value. It doesn't produce any value for holders. Can't make any money from it. I don't think the game is fun enough where anyone outside of holders is gonna, come in like, oh, where's that Yummy game? Let me buy a Yummy so I can like play this game. It's just not going to be any demand for it because it's not a good game. All these games that these guys make, they're creating an NFT. They're creating an NFT project and selling a game just so they can create an NFT project. They don't have like a true vision of like this great game. It's just like to me, it's all bullshit, man. I don't feed into any of that stuff.
Yeah, if they could have made a fun game like Hearthstone or something, because I like strategy games. I like sitting down and like looking at cards and building decks. Like, I'm just a nerd, dude. I love that shit. So if they were to have made that, I would have definitely taken some of my Yumi tokens and bought card packs and tried to like build a deck and maybe even streamed it while I'm having fun once in a while. Like, it probably wouldn't become like a weekly stream or something I do every day, but it could have caught my attention for some time.
Now, is this a buy to flip?
There's no way anybody knows that, for sure, because this team, it's kind of like a takeover. Nobody knows how the new people are going to handle it. Who knows like how Nick Jorans is going to do? Like, is he going to come back? Is he going to just fully dip? What's his statement after all this? I think there's a lot that has to follow before that's anything people can guess on. I mean, you can speculate and buy, sure, but nobody knows for sure, I think, with the information that we have.
Yeah, I think at this price, putting in a collection offer, trying to get one for super cheap and then waiting for the next pump to sell it would be like the only best bet of like trying to make money. Like, I do stuff like that all the time. This could be a good opportunity, but like I wouldn't ape in, stuff.
Oh no.
Let's check what the price is and then we can
38.
38?
The 38.
Let me
What's
see.
What's that project that rugged with the that gave everybody hell with the seaplanes? Disco Solaris. Like, they rugged and then they pumped. But
Yeah.
then they went right back down again and they're gonna keep going down. I mean,
What was the worst rug that you experienced?
oh, NFT Seeker.
What?
By far.
NFT Seeker.
Because they had so much potential. You've never seen a project that literally created so much utility, had a money generating business. He was selling these bots and things. People wanted them. There was demand for them. And then he rugged. And it was like, this is before he even minted, before he even got the money. He created so much stuff. And then he got the money and he just never made anything else after that. That was crazy. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. But he had mental issues.
I said this before to the team, because I was on the team for a little bit, and that's that he is super smart. He can make whatever you want him to make, like within 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it is. Like, he's quick. He's really quick with his shit, but he is not a leader. He should have been, like guided, like, hey, this is what you should be working on today or this week or this month, whatever. Like, just go do that. We'll handle all the tickets. We'll handle the BS. He let a lot of those things, a lot of like negative comments get to him, and he self-doubted and he spiraled into depression. And then when we would talk to him, he would like kind of just have like these sharp changes in direction. Like, oh, like I want to do this with the NFTs. And I was like, well, you can't generate passive income if you do that. And that was like some of the things that you promised. So we can't do that. And then he'd be like, nah, but this is what we're going to do. And he would work on that for like, a few weeks and then realize we can't do that. And then we would just fall behind. It was really frustrating to be a part of, but I really think it was just his mental health just like went to shit as soon as he minted. He was trying to do way too much. He listened to so many people instead of himself. It just wasn't a good time. Fadi, we all know how you feel. Fadi kind of aped into NFT Seeker. I don't know, a few of us did. Guac cards around the same time as Seeker. I don't remember.
I got rugged on a Guac.
I don't remember those. Guac cards?
Guac.
It was from the Avocado Club, and they were creating an analytical website.
Oh.
Provide lifetime access to sophisticated insights in Guacal analytics. Huh. Yeah, these look very similar to what the Seekers used to look like too.
Seekers look better, I think.
The Seekers were dope. I was frustrated. I was so like willing to throw my name on here too and like make YouTube videos and be like, Miguel's my favorite. He's never gonna rug. Like, I just felt like such an idiot. as well. Like, it just kind of pissed me off.
It hit us all like that because I helped him sell out.
Yeah.
You know, I was a big part. Like that reactor bot, he broke like the world record of reactions. He had over 1 million reactions. He had more reactions than a Bored Ape Yacht Club. It was insane.
Brutal times.
That's crazy.
But yeah, we've been here an hour and a half, dude. I really appreciate you coming on. We'll probably
Thanks for
talk
having me.
closer to the mint whenever you're going to be minting on ordinals. Maybe we can get a few whitelist spots. We can talk about how we're going to do that. But Clean, nice seeing you as well, bro. No, you got to go to work.
Drop his socials down low.
Yeah, all of Greed's socials for the project are in the description below. Y'all can go check that out. And if you need any more help, either hit me up in the Discord, hit up Greed, and hit him up in his Discord, whatever. But I appreciate all you guys for watching. Remember to get outside, see your family, see your friends. We're here to make more money so that we can spend more time with them. Until next time, guys. Peace. All right.